So let me ask you a question. You ever see a guy when he's curling weight and he's like this? Or squatting, looking way up? Or doing any exercise in particular and the cervical spine is just like out of control all over the place, not maintaining a position? Now I know for some powerlifters they tell you, to look up, and that I would say probably when you're working with a 1 rep max, there's a little bit more play, I think, for allowing your body to move in certain ways. Obviously you still need good form, but some form break when it comes to maybe neck or head movement is probably fine. But for the general person who's working in sets and doing reps and stuff, you want to maintain pretty good form, and that really starts with spinal alignment, right? Now I learned a cool lesson about this years and years ago from Charles Poliquin firsthand. I worked in Connecticut in a one-on-one training facility called Body Tuning, and it was a great experience. I was there for just about 3 years and loved it. It was really, like, to this day, probably one of my favorite, of course my favorite job is working for Critical Bench, but to this day, will remain one of my favorite jobs because I got to learn from really great trainers that I worked alongside of, but also on multiple occasions, my boss, Ben, had formed a relationship with Charles Poliquin, and he would be in the area here and there, and he came in and shared a lot of his, obviously, experience and knowledge with us. And I was still relatively green, this is like 2000, 2001, 2002, so he demoed on me how just manipulating the cervical spine with a basic seated dumbbell curl could give you an edge on your weightlifting. So he has me sitting, I don't know if I was the first guinea pig or I'd already watched someone else do this. So I'm sitting down and I have I'm warmed up. I've already done some sets. And he wanted me to pick a weight that was challenging for 6 reps or something. So I think I had 45-pound dumbbells. But he wanted strict form, right? Hammer curls with really good negatives. So, and his whole thing was be as explosive, under control as you can to bring the weight up, and then really eccentrically control the weight down. So he had me do a few reps until I started to fatigue, and then inevitably when you fatigue, what happens? Well, you end up using body English to make the weights move, right? So the first set, he didn't manipulate anything. He had me just go until I kind of started to reach failure, and then watch my head movements. And you start to tuck the chin and start to crank the neck a little bit as the weight gets hard. Then after I recovered, he had me do another set. And when I got to that 3rd or 4th rep, and he started to see my, that fatigue set in, and the head motions start to take place. He actually was behind me. He grabbed kind of the base of my head, the base of my jaw, and he just stabilized my neck and pulled up. Okay? I tell you what, I did a couple more reps, perfect form, and the weight felt easier. It went right up. And I forget if I was doing a supinated curl or a hammer curl. It's really not the point. The point is my curl form was improved because somebody helped to stabilize, brace my cervical spine, and by pulling up, he was really kind of opening up all those pathways, right? He was increasing basically my body's ability to perform, because our cervical spine, right, is what gives us our ability to use our arms. Okay, so he was removing any blocks or any any messaging that was going on from my brain to my arms by kind of stabilizing and pulling on my spine. It was a really neat test, and he did it for all of us that worked there, and it worked for all of us. And it felt interesting. Obviously, when we work out, we're not going to have somebody standing behind us pulling on our heads while we're curling. But it was just a testament to when our body is in perfect alignment, when we're giving ourselves the best chance to perform optimally. Okay? So just think about that the next time you're struggling with a weight, trying to get those last few reps. The more you kind of strain and twist and turn and tuck, the less chance you have of doing well. The better you stabilize that spine and try to keep a good posture, not going forward, tucking, the better you are performing with that weight. Coach Chris, Team Critical Bench, hope you enjoyed this tip, and we'll see you again real soon. Thanks for watching.